Today, we're diving into something big. We're talking about a single moment, a single choice that completely dismantled a musical empire. This is the story of Death Row Records, and a miscalculation that turned out to be absolutely fatal.
And this question, it's really the whole key to this thing. It's the paradox that just hangs over this entire story. And you know what? We're going to get into it.
And listen, this isn't just some random opinion. Everybody knew it. Tupac was brilliant. I mean, we're talking about a guy with a razor-sharp mind, a strategic thinker, part poet, part revolutionary. So the real question is, how does that genius square up with the decision he made right before the end?
All right, so let's dig right in and look at that contradiction, at what happened in Tupac's last conscious moments. It's a total puzzle, right? You've got this guy who everyone agrees is incredibly smart, making a move that just seems so reckless. It's one of those moments in history that just doesn't quite add up. And honestly, that's what makes it so incredibly tragic.
And you have to understand, this wasn't just some scuffle in a back alley. The stakes were sky high. I mean, think about it. Tupac goes after Orlando Anderson right there in a casino lobby with security cameras rolling everywhere. And who's standing right next to him? Suge Knight, the CEO of Death Row, a guy who's on parole and absolutely could not get into any more trouble. Every single part of this situation was a flashing red light.
So that moment, that one fight, it literally becomes the pivot point for the entire history of hip-hop. Everything changed right there.
And this is so important to get. It's really easy to look back and just say, oh, it was just a fight. But the fallout from this was massive. That one quick, chaotic moment sent tremors through the music industry that, honestly, we can still feel.
So yeah, the attack on Orlando Anderson, that was it. That was the spark, the match that lit the fuse. It happened in public, it was undeniable, and it kicked off a chain reaction that nobody could stop.
And the fallout? It didn't take long. It came fast, and it was devastating.
I mean, just look at how quickly everything went down. It's insane. Hours later, Tupac is shot. Not long after that, Suge Knight is in jail for violating his parole. And just like that, with its biggest star gone and its leader locked up, the most powerful label in hip-hop just crumbles.
First, you have Tupac. Just a few hours after that fight, he was shot. And the voice of a generation was silenced. Then, Suge. Because he was there during the fight, he violated his parole and got sent to prison, so the head of the whole empire is suddenly taken off the board.
And then, of course, the empire itself. No star, no leader. Death Row Records, this absolute giant of West Coast rap. It was over.
But okay, here's where things get even more complicated. What if that fight wasn't actually the main event? What if it was just a symptom of a much, much bigger war being fought behind closed doors?
It kind of makes you wonder, right? What if by focusing on this one fight, we're all missing the real story? A high-stakes chess match being played not on the streets, but in the boardrooms.
So you've got these two sides. On one hand, you have Suge Knight. You could argue he was the last real executive who played the game completely by his own rules. And on the other side, you've got the established power players, guys like Jimmy Iovine. It was basically a war between this new disruptive force and the old guard.
And the theory goes something like this. Suge Knight and Death Row just got too big. They were too powerful, too independent, a real threat to the status quo. And so he had to be stopped.
So, you ask, how could a setup like that even work? Well, it starts with that big-time executive rivalry already simmering. Then, boom, this moment with Orlando Anderson just kind of falls into their lap. But here's the kicker. The theory suggests they knew how Tupac and Suge would react. They knew they wouldn't back down from a fight. So they used their own nature against them, and it gave them the perfect cover to take the whole Death Row empire apart. And this last part, it's just haunting. It really suggests that Suge was so caught up in winning the battles right in front of him, on the street, that he completely missed the bigger war he was losing in the boardrooms. It's like he was playing checkers, and everybody else was playing chess.
So at the end of the day, what are we left with? Was it just a tragic street fight that spiraled out of control, or was it something else entirely? A story about a powerful man who made a fatal miscalculation, underestimating his real enemies and losing his artist, his freedom, and his entire empire because of it. We'll probably never know the full truth, but man, that question, it definitely sticks with you.